Hi, Miro. Let's start with just understanding what do you do at Valo, and then we can move forward from there.
Yeah, very good. So my title is a data scientist. Fresh out of uni 1 year ago when I joined Valo. And what data science basically is just problem solving based on data. Of course, we are a smallish company, so I need to do stuff besides data science as well, which would be like the more hardcore backend programming and data engineering as well.
Okay. And I know that you've been attending a lot of Salesforce events since the last 2 months. So let's discuss what problems did customers come forward with their Salesforce environments.
Right. Yeah. So I went to the Finnish event, the Agentforce World Tour. Then I went to the London's Calling, which is the community event, the 10th anniversary. It was actually like interesting how different these two are. The events organized by Salesforce and then the community. In the Salesforce events, I would be very much underdressed, but whereas in the community event, I think this would be very good. Yeah, but in the community especially, like it's very, very easy to go chat with people. It's more chill, more free format, and you can actually make good friends there as well.
Yes, and we're hosting one of the community events, the Helsinki
Right.
admin community. We're hosting them on August 28th.
Yeah, that's actually really cool, really interesting. Yeah, the Finland could be even have like a more vibrant community as it has now. There are some ambitious people also behind it, so like trying to build it
Yes.
larger.
But what were some of the problems that people came forward with?
Yeah, for the problems. So talking to people, I would say that most Salesforce people, be it the admins, the consultants, or just like day-to-day Salesforce users, is like the access control is something that very often comes up. It's not unique to Salesforce. It's with all these cloud platforms like Google, Amazon as well. Like sometime you will hit the permission limit, sort of like, oops, you don't have permission to view this data and so forth. And this, especially for the day-to-day Salesforce user, it can be frustrating. You know, your workflow is disrupted when you cannot answer or you cannot see the data what you actually need. But surprisingly, many of these users are actually kind of, when I ask them, would you like this problem to be sort of solved that you would never face these issues? And often the answer is sort of like, yeah, I don't know, maybe it would be cool. But honestly, it doesn't bother me that much. Mm-hmm. I just send a support ticket. I go grab lunch or a coffee, kick my feet up, take it easy. Maybe half an hour later, I will have the permission to view the data that I originally needed. And yes, that's how it goes. Pretty much the same for the admins. Also, rather surprisingly, when I asked the admins that, wouldn't you like this to be like super fast forward thing? You wouldn't need to like think about it. You can just focus on like other stuff. But then some admins would even say that, oh, I don't really mind. Like, this is what I do. This is what most of my day goes to. I sort of like become Sherlock Holmes. I try to identify why this person doesn't have the permission, whereas like their coworker does have the permission. And that's my job. I get like maybe 5 to 10 quick wins a day. So that's a good job for them, you know, like they like doing that.
Yes. But then there's also one thing that maybe most of the organizations are missing at this point is the security angle when it comes to access controls. So I have also seen with a lot of customers that no matter how big or small they are, they just try to go with the framework where everybody has permissions or access to everything, which with Valo we have seen is not necessarily the best thing to do. The principle that you should be following with access control is the need to know principle. If this person has the need to know this thing, they should have access to it. Otherwise, they shouldn't. But that seems to be something that most of the organizations have missed in the recent years. And that's one of the awareness that we're trying to bring forward with Valo, that we try to show you who has access to what, and we alert you that this person shouldn't have this access, and maybe you should go and revoke this access for this person. Do you have some thoughts on that? Did you talk about that with users in these events?
Yeah, definitely. Like in information security, there is a concept called minimum permissions or minimum access, and like this easy thing to do is to give access to all the users, but that of course is the least secure. What we do at Valo, or what I have been looking into, is like the what users actually do in the environment. And it does turn out that like quite the majority of users have way too much access in contrast to what they actually are doing in Salesforce. So yeah, Valo does give you visibility into your permissions. You can compare, you can see how wide permissions, if you can read or if you can edit the data, for example. And it also recommends you, hey, we haven't seen this user accessing this data in months, but they have permissions for that data. Maybe you should consider assigning them to some like more narrow permission set.
Yes, exactly. So Valo is very smart about how your access controls should be designed. And it also probably helps the user. So you don't have to think how to design your access controls. We raise the issues and we help you do that. And that's the step that we're moving forward with as well. So we're going towards building this big recommendation system for you so that you don't have to think on a daily basis on how to design your access controls.
Yeah.
But we help our users with some other things as well. So if we talk about apps and connections, did you, by the way, get to discuss with users in these events, how do they see integrations and Salesforce integrations and Salesforce apps and connections?
Yeah, definitely. So whereas this access control is something that touches upon basically everybody working in the Salesforce ecosystem, the integrations is really something that, well, your day-to-day users don't necessarily even know what an integration is. Even the admins, they know about integrations. They might install some or connect some themselves. But after that, who knows? Some admins might be more interested in to see what the integrations are actually doing and monitoring them. But for many, it's just you don't see them. Like they are doing their thing, everything works, everybody's happy, but really like what's happening under the hood is a mystery for many. And no wonder, like in Salesforce, it's not easy to monitor. Like you would need to dig deep into the logs, API total usage, as well as login history logs to see what these integration, like which kinds of API calls they are actually making, which users are associated with the integration and which data is being accessed. But that takes a lot of work. And especially if you're not that technical of an admin, you might not even have the tools for that.
Yes, exactly. And it kind of relates to what we were talking with access controls previously. So because most of the organizations are not having this need to know principle implemented to its full extent, it also means that any user can actually go and connect any app with your Salesforce.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And this just means that as an admin, your day-to-day job is even more harder because first of all, you don't have visibility into all the apps and connections you have with your Salesforce. Well, you do have some visibility there, but you probably don't have full visibility into who's using these apps, who connected this app, when was it connected, what objects is this app using, so what kind of data is this app accessing, is it inbound, outbound? A lot of things revolve around apps and connections, and you don't have visibility to all of that in one view. And that's where Valo actually helps. So we have this very nice graph that we built for you right away. You don't have to do anything. And we did see recently with one of the customers where this did happen. So somebody had connected an app. The admin didn't know about that app. And eventually there were some problems with the app. So let's walk through that use case specifically.
Yeah.
You're the one who actually implemented that insight. So
yeah, like one thing that Valo is monitoring among many others is the API volume, like the number of the API calls an integration is making. We are building somewhat of the fingerprint, like the personal identifiable baseline for each integrations to see what is the normal behavior. And when something abnormal happens, something weird, we give an alert. So there was this one case indeed that somebody from like a sales team, like a sales manager or something, had connected an integration, a connected app that does some lead automation, whatever. But there happened to be some sort of a bug in the source code of that particular integration, which led to it just bursting API calls like in an endless loop and basically just like consuming the API calls for that Salesforce organization. So as you know that Salesforce operates within a 24-hour rolling API limits.
Yes.
So which means that if during this 24-hour window you reach the limit, which could be like, for example, 150,000 API calls, you will run out. Like,
And then you have to pay.
then
So
you
there's
would-
a lot of cost involved here as well.
Yeah, also that. But what's maybe even more important is that your other connected apps,
They're gonna
even like internal Salesforce API calls, they won't work. They will fail if you have reached the limit.
Yes.
So basically, your business halts. And this is exactly what happened in this one case, was that an admin started to receive support tickets, emails about like how you like some people cannot see the data they're supposed to. Automations or reports were not loading, and just everything seems to be halted. So
Yes.
what this admin then can do, if they are technical, you could maybe go into okay, I think what actually happened was that he saw that boom, the API limit was consumed. Like that's the reason why nothing is working.
Yeah.
And how do you debug that? You can go into the logs, for example, the API call logs, API total usage. And you can see, I think this particular admin was able to see that there was an application ID that was seemingly making loads of API requests. But the problem is that Salesforce doesn't actually give you the application name, like which connected app, which integration is actually making this. It just gives you the
Yes.
ID. And there is essentially, without paying for Shield or event monitoring, there is no way for you to combine these two, like the application ID and the application name.
Unless you have Valo, because we do that for you. So
Yeah.
you can easily see which app is using or consuming high API limits, low API limits, anything that's abnormal than its usual usage. And then we create an alert for you, and we make sure that your environment is secure and
Yeah.
you don't have to pay extra for
Right.
these API
Yeah.
calls.
So what Valo does is actually it maps every single API call to a known application in your Salesforce. So this gives you like the ultimate visibility to your integrations. You can see integration or application X, application Y, what they are doing, which objects they are accessing, the times they are logging in, how many API calls do they send, and so forth. But like without a tool like Valo, it's very demanding. So what this admin did was they were able to see that there was, okay, if you know the application name, you can go and revoke the token. You can see, obviously, this application is not working as it should. It's destroying our org by consuming the API limit quota. So you can revoke its OAuth token, so it cannot perform the functions in the Salesforce anymore. But because of this app to name problem, or like app name to ID problem, he wasn't able to identify the application, but he was able to see which user was associated with that app. So his solution was to freeze that user, which would then freeze all the integrations that were connected to this user, which in this case meant that some couple of other integrations also lost their functionality.
Yes. But Valo has a smarter solution for this. So what happens with Valo is that if we see one of the apps is misbehaving or consuming a lot of your API calls, we suggest you to revoke the token for that particular app. So we save you a lot of troubleshooting hours. What we've not discussed explicitly right now is that throughout this whole scenario, of course, this person has to spend a lot of hours trying to troubleshoot what's going wrong with their Salesforce, what app is it, and it takes a lot of time. And in this particular scenario where when you run out of API calls, it means that your business will come to a halt. It's very critical that you try to troubleshoot it as soon as possible. It's a pressure scenario. It's a fire drill that you have to go through. But with Valo, you can do it in a couple of minutes. So we send you the alert, you see it, and then we also suggest you that let's revoke the token for this app, and then boom.
Yeah, like
So less than 5 minutes, I would say.
yeah, there are actually even like a number of cases that Valo could have sort of like interrupted this problem already before it occurred. Like Valo will notify whenever somebody connects a new connected app.
Yes.
So user blah 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 connected application this and that. So the admin can now actually have more visibility into who is connecting and what. Then, as you said, we monitor the API usage, the number of logins also. And if something deviates from the baseline, for example, we have only seen like 100 API calls a day for this application. Now we see thousands. That's an alert. And that will also prompt the user, the admin, to revoke or freeze that application, revoke their token. But there is also a third one. Sometimes running out of API limits in Salesforce is not due to like an obvious bug in one of the integrations, but it could be just like the growth of the organization, more users, more API calls, and so forth. So there could be like even a linear growth in the number of API calls, during a longer period of the time. And Valo will try to predict your API calls for the future as well.
Yes.
And if we predict that, hey, within 1 week's time, you will run out of API calls. So do the measures needed for that. Maybe increase your API limit quota, purchase more, or disconnect some unused applications, which, by the way, Valo also tells you which applications are not used.
Exactly. So we predict and we display that prediction to you. And then there's so many insights that we display about, for example, unused app, new integrations for sure. But I think one thing that we should discuss now is also that we display failed login attempts. So if there are multiple failed login attempts happening for an app from one particular user, or there's some suspicious access activity going on from a particular IP address, we do let you know about that information as well. Again, the whole purpose behind all of these insights is to reduce the complexity from your environment so that you can keep it secure, and also to just give you a peace of mind so you can sleep with peace at night.
Yeah, definitely. A normal admin, even though you're very technical, you can only look at the logs, the data for that much time of a day. But Valo does it 24/7. Basically, and will alert you whenever something weird happens. And about the fed login stuff, for example, we monitor the IP addresses. If we have monitored that, hey, this application has been logging in from the US for quite some time now, and then suddenly they log in from another country, that can be suspicious. It could be like, all right, somebody is just doing some testing from a holiday or so, but you would still want to probably know about that. We will also see if a user that an integration is trying to log in via, or like using the user's credentials, has some sort of a problem. Maybe the user has been deactivated and this application can no longer log in to the org, so it will recurringly fail the login. I will notice that as well.
Yes, and that brings me to the next point, which was on my agenda. So a lot of times what happens in the Salesforce organization, and the more I talk to customers, I realize this is a big problem in the Salesforce world overall, or the customers that are using Salesforce, is that they hire consultants, or then they have this one admin who was hired and has probably now left the company. And then this person has probably built a lot of integrations, a lot of configurations in their Salesforce with using their own username. And now they leave the company and you're a bit scared. What if I deactivate this user and then a lot of integrations just boom, they stop working.
Right, yeah.
And that's where actually Valo does help you.
Valo will also help in that scenario. Like Valo provides you with a deeper dive. Like I mentioned the logs, for example, like which user is associated with which integration. Valo will give you more visibility, more customized log exploring, if you may, and you will see like what happens if you actually disconnect this user.
Yeah, so you can do this full impact analysis of, well, hey, if I disconnect Miro, then what will happen with my Salesforce? So what are the apps that will stop working? And then you can actually plan for that. So you can plan mitigation actions for that scenario.
Right,
for sure.
Precisely.
Yes. So we have talked a lot about access controls and apps and connections, and Valo is definitely doing a lot in both of those sections. But we have a third stream in our company that we're trying to help our customers with, which is license cost optimization. Salesforce is a huge platform, and we all love it because it gives you a lot of flexibility. It makes your work a lot easier in your organization. You can see a lot of data through it, but it comes with a big cost as well. And especially during nowadays, when maybe companies are moving towards more cost-saving actions and trying to figure out where can they save costs, that's where Valo comes in. So Valo helps you optimize your Salesforce license costs as well. But not just optimize. I think what we're doing is also helping you with your user adoption within your organization for Salesforce. If you're paying a lot of money for a platform, it just makes sense that every user is using it to its full potential. And that's where Valo helps you. So we show, and that's where you've actually worked quite extensively in the beginning as well, Miro. So we show the end user who are your users, how active are they, and maybe these are the users you might want to push more or help them adopt Salesforce more in your organization.
Right, right. So I mentioned in the events I've been talking to people, most of whom have encountered access control issues. Many people don't know much about integrations, but this license management, user adoption, cost optimization, if you may, is something that interests a lot of people, especially the business people, the platform owners. If we tell you that, hey, you could maybe save some bucks here and there, yeah, of course, very interesting stuff. User adoption is a key word here. Like Salesforce, there has been a reason why an organization has taken Salesforce into use, is because they want to be more efficient in some sense. And if you have purchased a license for a user who is not using it, it's just waste of money, basically. So what Valo does is we very much like the integrations or APIs, we are monitoring the users, like which objects they are accessing, how often do they log in. We are trying to fit that behavior into the optimal license. So we have seen loads of scenarios where a user has a basic standard Salesforce license, which is a rather pricey one, but their actual behavior could be within the platform license, which is a whole lot of cheaper option than the standard license.
Yes.
One thing that relates heavily to the licenses is the integration license as well. So related to the integrations is that you shouldn't actually use a Fatica or Miro account to connect that integration, but maybe you should actually use an integration account. It's more limited. It's specific to that integration, and it will save you a lot of money also on the licenses. But
because you get it for free. So we get 5 integration users for free.
Yeah, exactly. So we also monitor, this is actually something we have seen a few dozen scenarios within our customers, is that they have connected a human user, or actually we have notified that the user is not a human, is a non-human, but they have still the standard Salesforce license, whereas they could have the integration, the free one.
Yes, and I think everything inside the Valo platform is very well connected to each other, and this problem of using human users, or we recommending that you should use non-human user, ties down back to the problem where I was discussing previously, that oftentimes Salesforce people who are using Salesforce, they forget that they should use non-human users to connect apps, and then they connect this human user. This human user leaves the company, and then you're in a bad situation.
Yeah, definitely. You leave the company, your laptop stays behind, maybe even some of the tokens, the credentials on that laptop, and it can be stolen, the credentials from there. An attacker might gain access via these tokens, via this integration that has been connected to your Salesforce and to all of its data.
Yes. But what we're also doing is we're in this license cost optimization domain, we're also trying to figure out or telling you about the activity of your user. So we try to see how often are they logging in, and we try to map that behavior across their usage of Salesforce as well. Are they doing something once they log into Salesforce? And then we give you the activity levels of your user. We give a very high level activity level as well. So we give you an abstraction of how many active users do you have, how many inactive users do you have. And this activity is based on their real activity within Salesforce. It's something you worked very closely on. So it'd be nice to hear your...
Right. So imagine a Salesforce organization with thousands of users and just a few admins. It's very difficult to actually know what the users are doing and who are actually using it as much as they should and who are not using it at all. So we are trying to assign users, first of all, into some sort of personas. We're trying to create persona for like how they are using their Salesforce. If this user seems to be a salesperson or a marketing or an admin type of person. And then we have the adoption, sort of like the activity score, if you may. If the activity score is high, you probably know that this user is using Salesforce as much as they should. But if loads of users have a low activity score, you as an admin, you probably would need to figure out like, what can you do better to, is it because these users are uncomfortable with using Salesforce? Is it because they don't really know what you can do and how you can do these things? Because in that scenario, it's important to sort of like address that issue. Like, hey, why are you not using this? And could we do something better for you to take full advantage of Salesforce and your licenses?
Yes. So as an admin, your first responsibility is always to enable your team in your organization to start using Salesforce. So enable the adoption of the platform within the organization. And we help you with that. With the activity level, we just don't see the logins. We also see the activity. Is the user actually doing something inside of Salesforce? And that's where I think that's the feedback that I have gotten the most, that this is the information that the admins are lacking before they had Valo. And once they do have Valo in use, within a couple of weeks, they see a lot of value from this particular feature. So it's not something that helps you once, it's something that helps you in a rolling basis. Until you have Salesforce, you want to make sure that people are actually using it. So it's a continuous value delivery.
It definitely is, yes. Also, we monitor it 24/7, but for these recommendations, we need a rather long period of time. Like, we cannot make the recommendations immediately. We need to see maybe a month or two of activity, like what these users, how are they using it? And then we can make the recommendations at Valo. Like, hey, maybe this user doesn't need this wide of a license, and so forth. Yeah.
Yes.
But you mentioned that this user activity monitoring is one of the things that the customers have mentioned that is very important. Like, are there some other ones that our current or potential customers would be like the most interested in?
So I think we've discussed about apps and connections already. So the visibility already helps. Every time I talk to a customer and I show the product, the first thing that I show is the graph that we build of your apps and connections. And a constant feedback I've gotten from everyone is that only this graph is a huge value addition in my daily life.
Right.
Because the visibility of knowing what apps and connections are connected with your Salesforce, who's using this app, who connected this app, where is this app being used from, the exact IP addresses, the exact locations, because in certain cases and in certain compliances, you have some unfriendly locations, you have some friendly locations. So that information is already very helpful. And then having that ability to see, well, this app can access this data in my Salesforce. It's huge. So that's the first feature I always show to our customers, and that's the feature that they go like, yes, this is already a huge addition in my life. Saves me a lot of time to understand what's going on. But then cost optimization and access controls are also very important for customers. So I think it depends on your scale, on the scale of the company, and what your priorities with Salesforce are. But I think one clear priority for everyone is security. So they want their Salesforce to be secure. And throughout the 3 domains that we offer in Valo platform, which is apps and connection visibility, license cost optimization, and access control, security is a common theme.
Right.
And I think we're a very security-oriented company.
We are.
Yes.
Definitely. Security is really something that when everything works well, you don't see it. But if something bad happens, like, it's gonna cost you so much. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's why, like, having the security, even though it's not one of the maybe not for all, is not the, like, it doesn't really affect your daily working, but it really is. It can be by far the most important thing of this all.
Yes.
Yeah.
And with Valo, we're trying to inculcate this feeling or this understanding in every user that security is very important. You don't really have to be worried about it on a daily basis if you have Valo. So Valo will be worried about you. Continuous monitoring, 24/7 hour monitoring of your Salesforce in all these 3 domains, apps and connections, and access control and cost optimization. And then we tell you what you need to do. So you don't even have to think on that part. We tell you what you need to do. And in most cases, we also do it for you if you give us the permission to do it. Of course, user consent is another thing that we really respect in the company.
Right. Yeah. But it's cool that this actually like is that people are recognizing this. Our customers are actually recognizing the value. Probably why they are our customers. We are in talks with them because we are very security oriented. But besides that, I would say that the challenges that different companies face with their Salesforce are very varied. Like everybody, like depending on the business area, the size of the company, how they are using it, the admins, it really like each company has their unique challenges.
For sure.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Salesforce is hugely complex. Nobody really understands it fully, but I think what we're doing at Valo is really cool. How broadly we are implementing these features. Many ISVs, independent service vendors, are just focusing on like one very specific niche. But whereas at Valo, like we are trying to build a more comprehensive tool, really like the admin's best friend, the only platform you would need.
So we want to build a tool that helps the admins be effective and efficient, but also the platform owners. So if you're a platform owner and you're concerned about how your Salesforce is performing, how many users are using it, overall adoption, then we have those things there in the product as well. But what would be, so maybe one last question to you, Miro, what would be your favorite feature within the product?
My favorite feature, so I mentioned I'm a data scientist, and one part of data science is machine learning. Building these algorithms, and like this is really the cool stuff what I like to do. So where is the most hardcore machine learning stuff within the product? That would probably be like the user persona assignment, like which user belongs to which persona. As of now, maybe the prediction, even like predicting ABI goals for the next weeks.
Yes.
But we will have plenty of new machine learning features, new intelligent, even more intelligent, but we can get also like super far without that much data science, just like rudimental displaying of the data.
Yes, for sure. And with every feature that we try to build in the product, the end goal always is that our end users should get some business value out of it.
Right, definitely.
So they're saving money, they're making their Salesforce more secure.
Yeah.
So for sure, the user persona is definitely one of my favorites as well.
Okay, good to hear.
We worked on it together, so.
Yeah, definitely.